So I've got the 044 I purchased here. It is a non-slant fin, but it is a 10 millimeter wrist pin. This cylinder, base gasket failed and the rings seized. And I ended up breaking the rings just looking at some stuff when it was disassembled. So the jug cleaned up. There's a little bit of discoloration left in there. There's one scratch that I couldn't get out, but I'm gonna run it because it's a firewood saw. Timing wheel. So checking the squish, I'm at 28,000 squish, 103 on the exhaust, 119 on the transfers for 16 degrees of blowdown, and I got 71 on the intake. I don't really want to mess with those numbers, so all I have done on the cylinder, I have just widened the intake. I marked both the exhaust and the intake width on the piston, so I have just lightly widened, reshaped the intake a little bit, and the exhaust I have not raised. I've just slightly widened it, and then I gotta finish, ended up cleaning up the inside of the exhaust port there, and then I'm gonna do some gasket matching, and I'll have to check the muffler. I did not buy an OEM piston. I just bought a piston that was on eBay. So a few things. Piston windows are pretty good sized. There's really no casting imperfections that are troublesome to me. But the one thing I did notice is when you put these pistons next to each other, let me use a pencil here. The window on the stock piston is higher than the window on this aftermarket piston. So I'm gonna just lightly round out, take a little bit of material out of the top of the window here. And I'll probably just maybe I'll end up taking a little bit on the outside of the window as well. But not really too much to do on the piston. And then on the transfers, the lower transfers, I am gonna, my hand's in the way. I am gonna widen the lower transfers just a little bit. So what I'm gonna end up doing, I'm probably gonna take this bottom lip off and just round that edge off a little more. And then I don't know if I'm gonna widen on the intake side. I think I'm only gonna widen on the exhaust side so that this air, it gets more air and helps shoot it that way, instead of having more on the intake side that has to go around and up. I'm gonna try and just go wider here, get that air to go back. Upper transfers, I got a little bit of scratching there just because there was a little bit of casting flash. So I just had the little diamond bolt just to polish up a little bit of imperfection there. But I am not gonna touch the upper transfers. So very mild work on this cylinder. Just kind of a cleanup job, and I'm gonna have this one set up just as a work saw. I have only run an aftermarket, a Farmer Tech 440. So I'm curious to see how this one will run. I'm not gonna do a dual port muffler. I'm just gonna take the factory muffler and I'm going to increase the size of that outlet. And probably not even by much. I don't know, I guess I'll have to wait and see. But nice empty factory muffler. So I'll pull out the spark arrestor there, and yeah, so that's a little bit of the start on the 440. I'm waiting on a gas tank for this one. Gas tank, rear handle. That one I ordered on a slow boat from across the world, so I won't see that for about probably 3 weeks yet. But a little bit of time, get this one together, clean everything up. Everything else on this saw was nice and tight, 100% OEM. It's going to be, well, 98% OEM. Only aftermarket parts going to be on this saw are going to be piston and the gas tank. So that'll be a fun one. All right, so here on the lower transfers on the 44 again, you can see, piss poor lighting. Okay, you can see I've ground on the bottom. Let me grab a pencil again here. And I've just taken, there was a lip going into the transfer. So I've just taken that lip down, and now I've widened on the exhaust side of the lower transfer, and it's tapered wider at the bottom. And the only thing I've ground on is just really that bottom and this edge. And you can see now here I've got a little bit of marker showing where I'm going to grind, but that is the only amount of grinding I'm doing. I'm not touching anything else. Just those edges, just to accept a little more airflow, get things to move in there maybe just a little bit easier. So not much work, but hopefully something that makes this, more efficient for the airflow to get up.